Yeah, I'm gonna sit down.
Hey guys, thanks for coming. Let me first start by saying that you can tell by the look of our football team today after practice, we had a really tough conditioning period at the end of practice. You can sort of tell that camp is starting to take its effects, not only physically with some of the injuries when you get banged up and you get a shoulder here, you get an ankle here, you get a wrist here, but also probably the emotional damage that a really tough camp for 2 weeks starts to take its toll. So those guys have been getting up every morning at 6 a.m., grinding through, 2 practices a day, walk through meetings, pretty full schedule for the last 2 weeks. So they're to a point where they're probably going to need a break here pretty soon. And they got a slack week coming up. But we still got to finish these next 2 days. Got a scrimmage Saturday, which we're going to scale back a little bit. We need to finish camp on a positive note. So far, camp's been a good camp. We've had a lot of kids that have surprised us, that are starting to really step up and make a difference and really give us the depth that we hoped they would. We feel like we've got more team speed on the field than we've had in the past. Our depth at most positions is really solid. And then for the most part with our starters, I think we'll be healthy. If we can stay healthy from this point on, I think we will be able to get our start in 22 all to field, all injury free, knock on wood. So, but camp's been good. It's been a grind. But camp to me has got to be somewhat of a grind. The kids, especially the new kids, and obviously everybody else, it's got to be a certain amount of investment. And these guys have invested an awful lot since we began on August the 4th. And still got a lot we got to put in the bank. Still a lot of investing. And hopefully, if we can continue on that track, we can get some great return out of it too. So with that, I'll open up with any questions.
You mentioned that you hope, and obviously so, hope to have all 22 starters in for Fayetteville. How much or how beneficial would you want it to be if Saturday, is there a deadline basically? Do you want to try to start having people in place to where you can start really working on the game plan?
Yeah, after Saturday, that will be our last scrimmage of the year. And always 2 weeks prior to the opening game is always your last scrimmage. And so that'll be the last time these guys, for the most part, tackle to the ground. We always try to tackle or play, or we always try to play physical. We're trying to eliminate from that point on how much rolling around, how much we're on the ground, so we can eliminate any more injuries. But we just got to keep working. I think we're doing things.
And also kind of off of that, starting Monday, do you start really just laying the foundation of the game plan, or how do you attack getting ready for Arkansas?
Yeah, next week, and I don't think it's going to start on Monday. Right now, it's scheduled for Tuesday. We'll start preparation for Arkansas. Obviously, next week, see, we're still not in school. Most of the time, we would have started classes that week, so we've still got some 2-day practices next week. So we'll have more practices in the second week or the third week, which is really 2 weeks before kickoff than we've had in the past. Normally, that third week, we're just in, or that 2 weeks before the first game, we're in 1-a-days, but we still have some 2-a-days left. How much we'll grind out that second practice is yet to be determined, because I want to make sure our football team has recovered, not only emotionally from a very tough camp, but physically, and their legs are fresh and ready to go.
Coach, you talked briefly after both scrimmages about intensity. The word intensity you talked about, and just leading off your last sentence right there. How physical has this camp been with all of the younger guys, as you say, competing for some opportunities, some spots in that depth chart, compared to your last 2 camps?
It's been a physical camp. I don't know if it's been any more physical. Spring ball was a very physical spring ball because we were trying to develop some toughness with some young kids. With the young kids, especially D linemen, linebackers, offensive linemen, there's always talented kids. And we've had some talented ones, this spring. But what you're trying to do is you've got to have some kids that are tough, that can hold their necks, that can hunker down, that can be physical, that can hold their gap, that will fly to the ball with relentless effort. And so those are the things we've been obviously trying to stress and to make sure that these young kids are on track to do. Talent only gets you so far. And once you get into a game and you start getting tired, a lot of times that talent's out the window. They'll stop using their fundamentals because they're not mentally strong enough to be self-disciplined enough to continue using fundamentals when they're really, really tired.
Imagine on offense, everything is settled as far as starting guys, but on defense, what are the battles that are still going on for starting guys? What do you think's the other side?
You know, right now, I think every spot except for a linebacker spot is probably locked down. I would say we still got a little bit of a couple of guys still competing for a linebacker spot. It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. But I think the other spots we know who our starters are after the last couple of practices. And although some other guys are going to play an awful lot, they're still going to have a huge part in their game plan. I feel like we're really close to knowing who all those starters are.
Mark, how many tight ends do you think you'll use this year, man, consistently?
Well, we'll travel. We'll always travel 4 tight ends. Hope to only use 3 of those guys, and that would be Ian Thompson, Jake Maxwell, Larry Pettis. Right now, Nick Byrne is running number 4. We'd like to redshirt him if we could, but it's a long season, and our tight ends are so involved in the game plan. We're preparing him to play if needed. He's had a great camp. We've got some really talented young tight ends, so I'm excited about that part of it.
Coach Darryl spoke earlier. Just talk about his progress at the inside position, and maybe where is he a little different or better or worse than Surgeon compared to where Harry was at that position.
You know, one thing that Darryl gives you probably a little more than Harry is Darryl's. He's fast. He's one of the fastest players on the team. So he's got speed that he can circle the defense. You give him a seam, he can obviously get some good yardage for you, and he can beat you over the top. Harry was a guy that he was one of those guys you couldn't him up in a phone booth, So they're a little different in style, but they both are dynamic playmakers. And we're going to have to get the ball to Darryl Surgeon. That's going to be always a part of the plan is make sure he can get a certain number of touches because he's a really good player.
Coach, having Rodney come back gave you a physical presence, gave you a veteran presence in the secondary. Where is he, for a guy who took some time off, where is he as opposed to the Rodney Gillis of last fall?
Right now, I don't know if it's from old age. I think he's in his 10th season here, not 6th, but I think it's catching up with him a little bit. He's sort of been banged up a little bit this last week. And so right now, he would not be starting as of now. I would think it's a playing time. But Al Rouse and Willie Burroughs right now are down in and out pretty good. Rodney's still in the mix, but he's got to get healthy. He's got to be 100% healthy in order to help us. But I definitely think he'll end up finding a role before the season's over back there. It's too long a season.
Coach, obviously coming off last season, you and Coach Witt get together and you challenge him to have these guys in better condition than the previous year. And so you began in January, you went through spring. The first week was brutal, the heat was really brutal, and maybe as hot as I can remember in a while. How do you feel about the team's conditioning at this point?
I'll let you know right after the Arkansas game is over. I think we're in good shape. We've worked them hard. The way we practice, we condition as we practice. We're sprinting station to station. Our guys are constantly on the move. Yeah, we do condition some after practice, but we try to condition as we practice. We condition pre-practice within our flexing, the way we flex and stretch, and so we'll find out. I hope we are in great shape because in the last 2 years, that's been a big part of our success is winning games in the fourth quarter.
Coach, can you talk about the battles that are going on right now in your secondary?
Well, like I said, I think Corey Trim and Seth Tillman are both going to start at corner right now. It looks like Al Rouse and Travis Patch are going to start at two safety positions. But Willie Burrows is doing some nice things back there. I think our third corner right now, next corner in the game would be Javante Riles. And then there's probably a toss-up after that between Dominic Jones.
You mean Watson, Coach?
I'm sorry, Javante Watson. And then it'll be a toss-up between Sean Thomas and Dominic Jones for the fourth in the game. But T.J. Worthy is right behind Travis Pat, giving us some really good reps. As a matter of fact, he's had a great week. He's probably going to push for some playing time too. So I like the depth in the secondary. That's really helped us. Some guys have really matured, changed their bodies, and obviously the influx of Trim and Tillman really helped.
Are you surprised with the performances of Trim and Tillman? Because they really haven't been consistent that long.
Yeah, you can tell it took in the first few days their heads were swimming, but these are guys that started 20 college football games in junior college, and so they've been on the field an awful lot, and so they're not newcomers, to be on the field first time green, never been in a college football game. So that experience to me is critical. They're smart players, real heady, and they both can run.
Coach, you mentioned that you guys are going to be wrapping up your last scrimmage coming up this week. What's something that you were going to be looking for in this scrimmage that maybe you want to have seen improved from the last scrimmage?
Well, obviously the number one thing is backup quarterback. I thought that the last scrimmage that neither one of the backups really played as well as I know they would have liked, or really up to our expectations either. In our last two seasons, we were very fortunate to have two very capable backup quarterbacks that kept us moving and ended up having good seasons. And so it'll be critical for them to get some more reps. We still have not made a decision. They've been a little bit inconsistent. One practice, it looks like one of them is ready to take the job and really playing at a high level, and the next scrimmage may sort of take a step back, and that just comes with the territory. They're young, inexperienced, need playing time, need more reps, and we've got to give them some more to get them ready.
How did McCray go from somebody who wasn't playing a ton last year, probably partly because you had guys ahead of him, to all of a sudden now he's a guy that the NFL scouts are kind of glued in on?
Well, one thing is last year he was banged up a lot during the year. Wasn't really 100% healthy for probably most of the year. Then we had a lot of guys in front, a lot of depth, but he played quite a bit though. He got some quality snaps last year. He didn't play mop-up duty. He played a lot of quality snaps and really shared time with the starters. Probably played almost as many snaps as the starters, but wasn't totally healthy the entire year. A little banged up right now. I think he'll be 100% by game time. He's a guy in the middle that is just, he's a load, and he is hard to move, and he's got a little attitude about him. So hopefully he can have a really, really good year for us.
Any other questions?
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Y'all have a great. All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach.
Thanks, Coach.